Ashley Samuel stepped out of her sleek, silver SUV and surveyed the sprawling coastal skyline of Lagos, though some said her true origin city was Cape Town. It was early morning, with the sun shimmering across the water. Ashley, 34, had come a long way from humble beginnings. She had grown up in a cramped one-bedroom apartment alongside her parents, who struggled to keep food on the table. Through fierce determination, scholarships, and multiple part-time jobs, Ashley put herself through college, eventually venturing into real estate. Her career soared beyond anyone's expectations, and by her late 20s, she was a budding success story. Now, at 34, she had blossomed into a self-made real estate mogul. Despite the prestige, Ashley wore success with an easy humility. She gave generously to charities, funded academic scholarships, and mentored young women aiming to carve their own paths in male-dominated industries. Her staff at Samuel Heights Development described her as approachable and fair, a boss who listened to every complaint or suggestion. And although her name carried weight in high society, no fancy ball or upscale event was complete without Ashley's presence. She never flaunted her wealth. She believed real class was measured by compassion, not possessions. On this particular morning, Ashley wore a simple blouse, tailored black trousers, and low heels. She'd arrived at an exclusive waterfront hotel to attend a business seminar on strategic real estate investments in emerging African markets. Armed with a notebook and an eagerness to learn, she slipped into the registration line. Other participants recognized her, whispering among themselves, "That's Ashley Samuel. I heard her newest project sold out in under a month." Ashley pretended not to notice. She only nodded politely if someone greeted her. Soon, she found a seat in the front row of a modern conference hall with floor-to-ceiling windows. The program promised a day full of industry panels and networking sessions. As she settled into the plush seat, she texted her best friend, Naomi, who had teased her about never pausing to rest. Ashley, texting, "Hey, I'm at the seminar now. Wish me luck, even though we both know I basically live in these things, LOL." Naomi, reply, "Good luck, unstoppable woman. Remember to stay open to people. Maybe you'll meet someone interesting." Ashley shook her head with a smile, dismissing the thought that she might meet anyone special in a sea of corporate types. With all she had achieved, she yearned for genuine connection over business talk. But deep down, she had nearly lost faith that any man could see her heart instead of her bank account. She closed her phone as the seminar's keynote speaker walked on stage. During the break for coffee and pastries, Ashley moved toward the refreshment table. She carefully placed a croissant and a cup of tea on a small plate. Her mind lingered on the morning's keynote, insights on sustainable housing in West Africa. Suddenly, a deep, pleasant voice addressed her from behind. Voice. That was quite a speech on emerging markets, right? I didn't expect so many references to local communities. Ashley turned, glimpsing a tall, broad-shouldered man with kind eyes and a polished, but not overly showy suit. He offered an easy smile. Ashley, yes, I found the statistics on middle-class growth particularly interesting. I worked in real estate for a while, but there's always something new to learn. Man, I'm Henry Elijah. I'm sort of exploring the investment side of real estate. I came to see if I can find new partners or at least glean some business tips. Henry extended his hand, and Ashley shook it. She introduced herself casually, Ashley, without her last name. Henry paused, eyes widening slightly. Henry, Ashley Samuel, by any chance? I recognized you from an interview about sustainable housing. I'm a bit starstruck, I must admit. Ashley fought a small blush. She was used to men praising her portfolio or net worth. Yet Henry's tone felt more like sincere admiration than strategic fawning. They chatted about the seminar, about infrastructure challenges in Nigeria, and even touched on philanthropic efforts. Henry listened attentively when Ashley described her mentorship programs. He seemed genuinely curious about her motivations. Before the break ended, they exchanged business cards, his plain, reading Henry Elijah, independent consultant, and hers a subdued Ashley Samuel, Samuel Heights Development. Neither card boasted flashy logos or elaborate titles. Walking back to the auditorium, Ashley found herself thinking, he's different. At least, he seems different. She mentally reminded herself not to read too much into a single pleasant chat. Still, she couldn't deny a spark she hadn't felt in a long while. Over the next month, Ashley and Henry kept running into each other, sometimes at business mixers, other times at charity galas. Each time, conversation flowed easily. He made her laugh with witty anecdotes about odd clients he'd consulted or with self-deprecating jokes about still finding his niche. Ashley, whose typical days brimmed with site visits and boardroom negotiations, felt a sense of normalcy in Henry's presence. He never tried to brag, nor did he pry into her finances. Before long, Henry invited her to dinner at a cozy, upscale restaurant by the waterfront. Candles on the table flickered softly. Henry wore a crisp shirt and slacks, no tie. Ashley chose a simple black dress, letting her natural elegance shine. Henry, leaning forward. "You have the biggest heart, Ashley. I see how you talk about your staff and those young women you mentor. Not many big CEOs do that." Ashley, smiling, a tinge of shyness creeping in. "It's important to remember where I came from, but let's not overhype me. I'm just a person trying to do her best." They laughed, sipped wine, and discovered shared interests, like a love for coastal drives and jazz music. Henry teased her about being too humble, praising how she approached deals with a human touch. Ashley glowed under the attention, her heart fluttering in a way she'd nearly forgotten. She told Naomi about Henry soon after. Ashley, on the phone. "He's so different from the men who only see me as a wallet. He doesn't even ask about my business details. He focuses on me, my thoughts, my feelings." Naomi, cautiously excited. "I'm happy for you. But keep your eyes open, dear. People can fake sincerity. Just be sure." Ashley nodded. She was no fool. She'd been burned before by men who courted her money. But Henry gave no sign of that type. He carried himself with a gentle confidence, rarely name-dropping or fishing for expensive gifts. Slowly, she let down her guard. Within 3 months, their bond deepened. Henry accompanied Ashley on occasional site visits, giving supportive feedback. They attended philanthropic events together. Even Ashley's staff observed how relaxed she seemed around him. Her usual stress gave way to laughter. If there was any suspicion about Henry, Ashley's genuine happiness overshadowed it. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to dream of a future built on love rather than business alone. Ashley, the philanthropic real estate mogul, finds joy with Henry Elijah, a seemingly authentic partner. She hopes for a love that transcends wealth. Unbeknownst to her, Henry's motivations may run darker than she suspects. Life took a thrilling turn the evening Henry proposed. A sunset glow bathed the balcony of Ashley's coastal penthouse. They just finished a simple homemade meal. Henry insisted on cooking pasta. As they stood by the railing, Henry pulled a small velvet box from his pocket and knelt. Henry, voice trembling slightly. "Ashley, these months with you have shown me the true meaning of love. You're my inspiration, my calm, my everything. Will you marry me?" Tears welled in Ashley's eyes. She managed a teary nod, overwhelmed by gratitude that fate might finally have given her a true partner. The ring was modest by her standards, just a single diamond on a plain band, but that only endeared her more to Henry, who seemed unobsessed with luxury. Shortly thereafter, Henry moved into her mansion, set in a luxury suburb near the water. The property boasted a wide garden, multiple guest rooms, a pool, and a private dock. Ashley's staff, including her loyal maid Tracy, welcomed him politely. Ashley set him up in a spacious suite near her own bedroom, so they could maintain some space before marriage. Henry praised every corner of the house, repeatedly expressing how unworthy he felt to share such a beautiful home. She hushed him with affectionate kisses, reminding him he was her fiancé, not some tenant. As wedding preparations gained momentum, Ashley yearned to meet Henry's family. He explained that his father had passed away, and his mother, Margaret Elijah, lived upcountry with extended relatives. To honor them, Ashley threw a lavish dinner party in her garden, inviting Henry's mother and cousins. That evening, the garden glimmered under fairy lights. Tables draped in white linen were decorated with elegant centerpieces. Soft music played from a hired string quartet. Ashley wore a long, pastel gown that accentuated her grace. She felt excited to welcome Henry's kin, hoping to forge a bond with them. Margaret arrived, dressed in vibrant, traditional attire. She was a short, stout woman with a proud bearing. She spoke only in her native dialect, which Ashley didn't understand. Henry's cousins also conversed partly in English, partly in their dialect. Ashley did her best to greet everyone warmly. She approached Margaret with a polite smile, waiting for Henry to translate. Ashley softly, "Please tell her I'm honored she came. She raised a wonderful son." Henry said something in dialect, and Margaret responded with a curt nod. She wore an inscrutable expression. Ashley chalked it up to shyness or unfamiliarity with city ways. She invited them to sit at a table laden with delicacies: roasted fish, spicy jollof rice, fresh salads, and imported wines. The mood started off warm with casual chatter. Tracy, the maid, moved around refilling glasses and bringing extra dishes. A quiet observer by nature, she noticed tension in Margaret's gaze whenever the older woman looked at Ashley. At one point, while Ashley chatted with Henry's cousins, Margaret pulled Henry aside. They spoke in hushed voices in their dialect, occasionally glancing at Ashley. Tracy's ears pricked. Unbeknownst to everyone, she understood that dialect fluently, courtesy of her grandmother's teachings. Margaret leaned close to Henry, speaking in their native tongue. Margaret, in dialect. "So, you plan to marry this ATM soon, right?" "She's obviously loaded." Henry smirked, replying in the same language. Henry, in dialect. "Yes, Mama. Once we get married, I'll milk her dry and then walk away. She's so naive. It'll be easy." Tracy, balancing a tray of wine glasses nearby, nearly froze. Her heart pounded. Did she hear that right? She forced herself to keep a neutral face, carefully setting down the glasses on a side table. Margaret continued. Margaret, in dialect. "Don't waste time. The older she gets, the more desperate she might become. Seal the deal quickly." Henry snorted a laugh. Just then, Ashley turned from across the table, noticing Henry and Margaret speaking. She asked gently, "Ashley, Henry, is your mother okay?" "What did she say?" He pasted on a sweet smile. "Henry, she said you're a blessing, and she's incredibly proud of me for finding you." Ashley's face glowed with joy. She raised her glass in a small toast. "Ashley, well, tell her I appreciate her. I look forward to being part of your family." Tracy hovered, silently appalled. She wanted to scream a warning, but she had no immediate means to prove her claim. If she confronted Henry in front of guests, he'd deny it, and Ashley was too enamored to suspect him. So Tracy bit her lip, deciding she needed a better time and solid approach to open Ashley's eyes. She resolved to keep watch for any further signs of deception. The evening ended with polite farewells. Margaret left with minimal warmth, though Ashley insisted on gifting her a box of expensive tea and a quality shawl as a token of welcome. Henry beamed at Ashley in front of everyone, calling her my angel. The guests praised the party. But for Tracy, an ominous cloud loomed. She sensed that Henry was a cunning actor playing the role of devoted fiancé, all while planning to exploit Ashley's wealth. Henry's and Margaret's vile intentions come to light. They see Ashley as an ATM to be milked, while Ashley remains blissfully unaware. Tracy alone knows the truth, feeling compelled to warn her mistress. Days turned into weeks after the dinner. Ashley and Henry progressed with wedding plans. The date was set, the venue a luxurious resort, invitations in the design phase. Ashley seemed to glow with anticipation, telling Naomi about color themes and floral arrangements. Meanwhile, Henry became a fixture in the mansion, though he rarely contributed financially or showed evidence of a stable job. He brushed off questions about his work by claiming he had private consulting clients. Tracy's growing anxiety reached a breaking point. She dreaded the possibility that once Ashley legally married Henry, he'd drain her accounts and vanish. Each time she glimpsed the fiancé sweetly kissing Ashley's forehead, she felt a surge of protectiveness for her employer. At last, one night, Tracy decided she couldn't remain silent. She found Ashley in the library room, scanning interior design catalogs for the upcoming wedding. Henry was out. The house was mostly quiet. Mustering courage, Tracy knocked on the door. "Tracy, Madam Ashley, may I speak with you? It's important." Ashley looked up, noticing the tremor in Tracy's voice. She set aside the catalogs. "Ashley." "Sure, Tracy. Is everything okay?" Tracy's eyes filled with tears as she began explaining, step by step, what she overheard in Henry's dialect. She repeated Margaret's question, "When are you marrying this ATM?" and Henry's chilling response, "Once we marry, I'll milk her dry, then I'm out." She added details about how Henry laughed, how Margaret urged him to hurry. Ashley's face blanched. Disbelief flickered in her eyes. "Ashley, Tracy, are you sure you understood them correctly? Why would Henry?" Tracy bit her lip, tears spilling. "Tracy, I swear, madam, on my family's name. I grew up speaking that dialect with my grandparents. I recognized every word. I want to tell you sooner, but he always seemed so nice. I feared I might lose my job if I was wrong. But it's true." Ashley's hand shook. She struggled to rationalize how the man she loved, who showed such tenderness, could harbor such malice. She peered at Tracy's anguished expression, a loyal employee with no apparent motive to lie. Ashley whispering, "You're certain? Absolutely certain?" Tracy nodded, sobbing now. "Tracy, he called you ATM. He said he'd leave after draining you." "I'm sorry, madam." Ashley spent a sleepless night wrestling with heartbreak and confusion. By morning, she'd made a decision. She had to confront Henry, but she needed proof. She asked Tracy to repeat the conversation in front of Henry. She also planned to secretly record the encounter on her phone. If Henry was truly innocent, perhaps there was some bizarre misunderstanding. But her gut twisted with dread. That afternoon, she found Henry lounging by the pool, sipping a cold drink as if enjoying a carefree lifestyle. She approached calmly. "Ashley, Henry, we need to talk. Let's go inside." Sensing her serious tone, Henry followed her to the living room. Ashley subtly placed her phone on a side table, set to record audio. Tracy stood by the door, eyes downcast. Ashley folded her arms, voice trembling with hurt. "Ashley, Henry, Tracy told me something disturbing about what you and your mother said the night of the family dinner. She claims you called me an ATM, that you plan to marry me, take my money, then leave. Is that true?" Henry's face flushed with indignation. He put on an outraged expression. "Henry, that's ridiculous. Ashley, how can you believe a maid's gossip? She's probably envious or wants to ruin our relationship." Tracy, voice shaking. "Sir, I'm telling the truth. I speak your dialect. I heard every word." Henry scoffed. "Henry, Ashley, please. This is a nasty scheme. Maybe she wants money from you." At that moment, Ashley motioned for Tracy to come forward. Tracy repeated the exact phrases Margaret and Henry used, verbatim in their dialect, then translated them into English. Henry's eyes widened in panic. He realized these were indeed the precise words he had spoken. Ashley watched him closely, tears brimming in her eyes. "Ashley, well, Henry, she just quoted you word for word. Do you still claim she's lying?" Henry's pretense crumbled. He sank onto the sofa, burying his face in his hands. In a broken whisper, he confessed. "Henry, I said it, but it wasn't real. Mama pressured me. We didn't expect to meet someone with your heart. You changed me, Ashley. I do love you now. Please believe me. It was the devil's work." Ashley's voice cracked as she asked, "Ashley, you looked into my eyes, told me you loved me, yet behind my back you planned to use me. How could you?" Henry crawled forward, tears streaming. "Henry, forgive me. Let's start over. I swear, I'll never hurt you again. I was foolish, but I want to be with you truly." Ashley's heartbreak morphed into a silent fury. Her voice quivered with emotion. "Ashley, I gave you my heart. You saw a bank account. Now watch as the gates close." She whirled around, pressing a button on the house intercom. Ashley, calm but steely. "Guards, please come to the living room." Two uniformed security guards appeared, confused but alert. Henry gaped, realizing the finality of the moment. "Ashley, escort Mr. Elijah out. Permanently. He may gather his belongings, but I want him off my property by sunset." Henry's pleas turned desperate. He clutched Ashley's arm, sobbing. "Henry, don't do this, baby. I love you. We can fix this." She jerked free, tears sliding down her cheeks. "Ashley, there's nothing to fix. I deserve loyalty, Henry, not manipulation." She motioned for the guards, who gently but firmly took Henry by the shoulders and led him away. His cries echoed. "Henry, Ashley, please. I made a mistake. Don't throw away what we had." But Ashley refused to look back. She sank onto a chair, her body trembling as sobs escaped her. Tracy stood quietly, tears in her own eyes, murmuring, "Tracy, I'm so sorry, madam." Ashley managed a faint, appreciative smile at her loyal maid. She whispered, "Ashley, thank you, Tracy. You saved me." Ashley's illusions are shattered. Henry is expelled from her life in a dramatic confrontation. The heartbreak is profound, but Ashley's integrity remains intact. Now she must grapple with the aftermath. After Henry's departure, Ashley fell into a brief period of mourning. The wedding was canceled. Invitations were retracted with minimal explanation. Gossip swirled in certain circles about the abrupt split, though Ashley's close friends, like Naomi, understood it was a matter of betrayal. Naomi visited Ashley daily, bringing homemade meals and moral support. They sat in the mansion's living room, sipping herbal tea. "Naomi, you'll heal, Ash. You're strong. No one can break your spirit." Ashley, voice cracking, "I wanted so badly to be loved for who I am, not what I have. It hurts that he lied so easily." Naomi gently squeezed Ashley's hand. She reminded her friend that the fault lay with Henry's greed, not Ashley's vulnerability. Over time, Ashley processed the betrayal, leaning on her philanthropic efforts to distract from the pain. She resumed her routine of checking real estate sites, meeting clients, and finalizing new housing developments. Tracy remained a quiet pillar of support. She handled house affairs diligently, ensuring Ashley had space to grieve and regain her footing. Ashley soon recognized that staying angry would only poison her spirit. She wanted to do something constructive, turn her private heartbreak into a public good. One evening, Ashley paced her study, recalling how many wealthy women she knew faced emotional manipulation. She also thought of less privileged women trapped in abusive relationships, lacking resources or knowledge to escape. This reflection birthed an idea, a foundation that supported women dealing with emotional or financial abuse, guiding them to legal advice, counseling, and job training. She decided to name it Golden Heart, symbolizing the purity and resilience of a woman's heart, even after suffering betrayal. This name also hinted at her own story, how she discovered the truth behind Henry's facade. She called Naomi to share her vision. "Ashley, I want to create an organization that helps women see the signs of manipulation, empowers them to stand on their own. Not just wealthy women, but all women who might be used and thrown aside by opportunists." Naomi, enthusiastic. "This is brilliant, Ash. Count me in. Let's gather a team. Lawyers, counselors, business mentors. The city will rally behind you." Ashley's eyes glowed with renewed purpose. She began drafting a mission statement. Golden Heart is dedicated to educating and uplifting women who face emotional or financial exploitation, providing them with counsel, safe havens, and vocational opportunities. 2 months later, in a grand ballroom at a luxury hotel, a press conference was held to announce the official launch of the Golden Heart Foundation. Reporters and camera crews arrived, intrigued by Ashley's new philanthropic endeavor. The city's social elite also turned up, curious about the shift in Ashley's philanthropic strategy. Some speculated it was a reaction to her broken engagement. They weren't entirely wrong. Ashley stood at a podium decorated with the new foundation's logo, a stylized golden heart encircled by protective hands. Wearing a tailored white suit, she addressed the audience with composed confidence. "Ashley, for years, I've devoted resources to building homes and mentoring entrepreneurs. Today, I'm adding a deeper focus, emotional well-being for women who have been manipulated or abused, often in subtle but devastating ways. Golden Heart will provide safe spaces, counseling, and financial literacy training. Flash photography punctuated her speech. She shared no direct mention of Henry, but her personal experiences informed her words. She warned the audience about emotional predators who target trusting hearts, people who see relationships as transactional. She advocated for universal vigilance, urging society not to blame victims but to support them. The audience applauded. Many recognized that Ashley was calling out the type of man Henry had been, though she remained too dignified to name him. After the speech, her phone buzzed with supportive texts from across the city. She took a moment to reflect. By exposing her vulnerability, she was forging a path for others to find strength. Meanwhile, Henry's reputation collapsed among the wealthy circles he once tried to infiltrate. Rumors circulated that he had tricked Ashley and got caught. Everyone now labeled him a con man. Potential social connections and investors vanished. He retreated to a modest rental, unemployed and resentful. His mother, Margaret, bitterly complained in their dialect that Ashley had humiliated them, but no one extended sympathy. Over time, they quietly faded from the social scene. Back at the Samuel mansion, Ashley carried on. She resumed meeting property investors, finalizing deals for a new affordable housing project near the coastline. She also dedicated time to Golden Heart, hosting workshops for women who needed emotional or financial guidance. Tracy assisted with event planning, delighted to see her mistress strong again. Naomi remained a steadfast friend. One afternoon, the two strolled along the mansion's garden, admiring the manicured hedges. Naomi, you never let bitterness consume you, Ash. That's remarkable. Ashley, smiling gently. I won't pretend the betrayal didn't hurt, but I've built my life on resilience. I can't let one manipulative man destroy my belief in kindness. They paused, gazing at the shimmering water beyond. Ashley's empire was intact, her philanthropic impact growing. She felt a quiet peace. Though she still bore scars from Henry's treachery, she chose growth over bitterness. Her big heart remained golden, only now it shone with the wisdom of survival. Ashley transforms heartbreak into empowerment, launching a foundation for women suffering emotional abuse. She reclaims her life, stands taller, and shares her resilience publicly. Henry and Margaret fade into obscurity, overshadowed by Ashley's unbreakable spirit. Weeks after the press conference, local tabloids ran headlines. Mogul Ashley Samuel's Golden Heart. New foundation stuns high society. Journalists lauded her bravery in addressing emotional exploitation within wealthy circles. Ashley read these articles with a humble smile. She never craved the spotlight, but if her story could help others, she deemed it worthwhile. She found closure in philanthropic acts. One evening, she visited a women's shelter affiliated with Golden Heart. Among the residents was a middle-aged lady who'd lost everything to a deceitful partner. Listening to her tale, Ashley felt echoes of Henry's betrayal. She offered heartfelt reassurance. Ashley, we are more than our past mistakes. There's strength in acknowledging hurt and choosing to rise. You deserve a new start. The woman wept, hugging Ashley. That moment reaffirmed the reason behind Golden Heart. Ashley realized heartbreak had not only taught her caution in love, but also unleashed a new wave of empathy for those trapped in manipulative relationships. Standing on the mansion's balcony later that night, Ashley gazed at city lights dancing on the horizon. A soft breeze ruffled her hair. She recalled Henry's false confessions of love, Margaret's greed, and the painful confrontation. Yet those memories no longer felt crippling. They had transformed into lessons embedded in her soul. Her phone chimed. Naomi, sending a funny meme, tried to lighten her evening. Ashley typed a quick reply, her lips curving in a soft grin. She whispered to the silent sky, Ashley, love can be beautiful or dangerous, but I won't give up on it. I'll just be wiser next time. Somewhere, Henry likely brooded over his lost chance. But that was no longer Ashley's concern. She belonged to her own future, a future of positive influence, personal growth, and unwavering kindness. In the end, her heart remained golden, no matter how others tried to exploit it. Thus concludes Golden Heart, the journey of a woman betrayed yet unbroken, who turned personal tragedy into a beacon of hope for countless women. Her final legacy is that no matter the depths of deception, a resolute spirit and a compassionate heart can stand victorious, shining brighter than the darkest schemes.